Episode 76, 5 to 1, Favorite Athletes. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of 5 to 1. 5 to 1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each episode. Today, we are featuring our favorite athletes and our style of counting down from
5 to 1.
Those really deep voices you heard there, we should introduce them. Before we get much further, let's introduce our panel of athletic experts. I am CK, and I am joined by my two agile sons.
Cade Moore.
My 16-year-old.
Jet.
My 13-year-old, and we are 5 to 1. I've said this for a few episodes now, but just in case you've missed them, we are on Spotify. Check us out there if you like listening to your podcast on Spotify. It's a cool way to listen. I really like it, actually, in particular, because the other apps that I use don't always upload the artwork. Like, I create specific artwork for each episode. We have, like, our logo, right? Yeah. Our overall 5 to 1 logo. And then I create artwork for every single episode and individual to that episode. And a lot of the apps don't show it. They just show the logo. I like how Spotify shows the artwork I create for each episode.
It's cool.
Plus, you know, if you listen to your music there, it's also a cool place to do podcasts. Anyways, I get a lot of people asking me how to listen. There are lots of ways. The best repository is also always iTunes. And pretty much every podcast app that you would download on your phone uses the iTunes library, whether it's iPhone or Android. So just search 5 to 1 on any podcast app. You can search it on Spotify or Google Play. You can go directly to our website, 5to1podcast.com. Just a note, our Facebook page is down. I had to take it down temporarily. It's undergoing some maintenance. We were overrun by bots. I was getting 200 to 300 bots liking our page daily.
Good thing.
No, it's not, because I don't want to get into it because it's a long explanation. It's bad for your page because it lowers the percentage of interaction. So I kept trying to remove them, and I get 200 more, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm either going to start a new one, or I don't know. But it's down right now. So, you guys recognize this song?
Yes.
No.
Cade, what is it?
No idea.
I'm sure that there were a lot of teams that used it, back in the 90s and maybe the 2000s. I recognize it as the Chicago Bulls kind of pregame song that they would play as they were introducing the players and they were coming out into the court and all that. It makes me think of the Bulls and Michael Jordan and all that. And since we're doing greatest athletes or favorite athletes, I thought it was appropriate. Before we get started on our actual lists, I did want to do just a little tiny bit of feedback. Because I did get some feedback in between our last episode and now about how we need to record more. I typically get that kind of feedback.
Yeah, it starts online, and then in person you start hearing, like, hey, like, record.
Yeah, so you're getting it, too, from your friends and your girlfriend and all that. Jed, do any of your friends listen to our show?
No.
You should talk to them about it. We've been doing this for years, and your friends don't even know you host a podcast.
Well, we only do one podcast every few years.
Yeah, but we have like 75 episodes online. Well, that's a lot. That's pretty significant. You should be proud of it. Tell your friends. Outside of the feedback that we need to record more, I also solicited for some feedback on the structure of our show, kind of how we do things, how we have it set up, our segments, that kind of stuff. And I've gotten very mixed reviews, so I need more feedback on that. I had one listener that said they didn't like the fun fact of the week.
But I love the fun fact of the week.
Others said that they love our segments. Well, actually, some younger listeners said that they want us to just get straight to the list. They skip all this intro stuff, right? I had our longtime listeners all said, no, screw that. We love the segments, and we actually liked it better when they were in the beginning. Remember, we used to do all that stuff before we started the list. So I need some more feedback from our listeners. It's a very mixed bag right now. Just recently, I heavily considered doing away with our listener choices segment, even though I think it's fun. It takes a long time to compile the votes. I have to always have that out a couple days before we record. So if we one weekend we were like, hey, we are in the mood for recording. Let's go do something. We couldn't just do it unless we just left that section out, right? Because it takes time to gather all that information and compile it. So I don't know. I do like the interaction.
I think if we uploaded like 3 episodes back to back to back, no one would notice if we left out the listener choices.
True. but we would notice. And we do have listeners who pay attention to that stuff. So I don't know. I would like to hear what our listeners think, more listeners than what I've heard from so far. So if you have an opinion, reach out to me and let me know.
You say this now, but I wonder if all the younger listeners have skipped already.
You're right. They wouldn't have even heard it anyways. All right, so we switched themes for this topic. We're trying to have some variety because we do a lot of movies, we do a lot of music. Today we're going sports, athletes. I thought it would be kind of a fun change of pace. This is a very broad topic since it covers all sports from all time. So I had a hard time with my list just because there are so many options. And I didn't want 5 baseball players on my list. So
I mean, for me and Jet, we don't watch very many sports. So.
You don't, but I mean, you're a wrestler and you're very familiar with that. And there's lots of wrestler athletes. And Jet knows some. He doesn't know basketball. We've established that, but he knows some. Anyways, did you have any rules for making your list?
I just wanted to make it as diverse as possible.
Okay, Jet. What about you? Any rules?
No.
All right. My only rules are that I wanted to have watched the athlete perform in that sport during my lifetime, so that rules out guys like Jim Thorpe and Babe Ruth from a long time ago. And I wanted some variety, otherwise it probably would have been.
I did the same thing. I only
players.
chose athletes that I know of and nowadays.
Yeah,
so.
I will say it was really hard. I really wanted to include Mickey Mantle. He's one of my favorite athletes of all time for sure, but I didn't watch him play. I also didn't want multiple baseball players on here, so I left him off. But other than that, I only made those rules so that I did have some kind of structure and balance, because otherwise I don't know how I'd pick 5. There's just too many. But I guess we can get started. Jet, are you ready with your list over there?
Yeah.
Okay,
but we start with Cade.
I know you just kind of looked like you were Snapchatting or something. I was making sure you were here with us. All right, Cade, what's your
number 5?
This one is definitely the most different on my list.
Okay.
I wanted to choose a sport that I don't watch the sport a lot, but I do watch it when it's on the Olympics.
UFC.
Okay.
It's gymnastics.
Yes.
I chose Caitlin Ohashi as she's the girl that did the Perfect 10 routine.
Oh, the one that we just saw recently online?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like insanely good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched
really
more
good.
of her stuff, and she's really cool. So
That's awesome.
she had a really interesting backstory in how she became she's frowned upon in the community of gymnastics because of her structure.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have the perfect body, I guess, that suits the judges or whatever, or the fans or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But she ignored that. She made it really far, and she got really good. So
That's awesome.
That's really
I
cool.
thought about, I didn't put a gymnast on my list, but I thought about a lot of it because I thought about having Olympics kind of as one of my categories for my 5 choices. And the event that I enjoy watching the most in the Olympics is women's gymnastics. I think it's so fun to watch.
It's
like the uneven bars is it's so fun. It's so cool.
It looks impossible.
I very much prefer it to the men's gymnastics. I don't know why. I think it's
they're more graceful.
They're more. It's a more beautiful form of the sport. And there are lots of gymnasts I thought about. I mean, when I was 11, 12 years old, 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona, I had a huge crush on Kim Zmeskal.
I have a huge crush on Caitlin Ohashi.
And she was supposed to win gold that year, and she didn't. Shannon Miller did instead. But then 96 was Dominique Moceanu's year, and she went to my high school for a little bit in Plano while she was training for the Olympics. Or maybe it was after. She was training for the World Championships. I can't remember. But there was Carly Patterson and Nastia Lukin, and some of them are from around our area. They trained in Allen and Frisco.
Yeah.
So this area is kind of a hotbed for gymnastics. And you remember our close friends, Jaden Faith.
Yeah.
She trained with those athletes when she was training for gymnastics. So that's a good choice. I didn't know that one's
you
name.
You can go and practice at the Metroplex.
Yeah.
It's
during the quarantine, I've been watching a lot of classic sports on TV, and they showed from, I think it was the 96 Olympics, there was a gymnast named Carrie Strug, who she was, the women's team, America's women's team was good, but they weren't necessarily favored to win. They ended up winning, and they won it because Carrie Strug was the last one to go, and she had to get a certain score on the vault where they run super fast and they jump and
they put their
flip
hands
over
on the
the
thing.
yeah. And she went on the first one and she fell and she hurt her ankle. And you get 2 goes, and she had to nail the second one, but she had a hurt ankle, and she didn't. She landed on one foot and got this great score and secured the victory for the United States. It was really cool, such a fun thing to watch. We were going to do sports moments, and that was going to be one of my 5 moments. Yeah. I just always loved women's gymnastics.
What's that one performance we watched? It was a guy in a pink suit. He was He was doing it like as a comedic performance.
Yeah, but he was really good.
He was actually like really good. Yeah,
I
that was
can't
really
remember
funny.
his name. And then the current one, who's like Simone Biles, is that her name? She's like
There's another one. What's the other black girl?
I know who you're talking about. She was
She's
like
younger than Simone Biles.
Oh no, she's older. I thought she was really good before Simone was. Unless we're talking about different people.
Maybe. I don't know.
I can picture her face, but I can't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
Simone Biles is like amazingly good, though. She's like the greatest of all time. She does stuff that no gymnast has ever done before, and they're making rules to prevent gymnasts from doing what she does because it's too dangerous for other gymnasts to try. And she's getting penalized for it because she can do it, but she's not getting like the score she should get.
That's dumb.
And she's still winning, though. I mean, she's still by far the best. It's just kind of amazing how talented she is. All right, so that's a good choice. I'm glad you put that because I wanted to talk about gymnasts and I didn't have them on my list, so that's really good. All right, Jet, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is Mike Tyson.
Oh, good choice.
That's a great choice.
I don't know much about him, but I know enough.
He's so
like
fun
I've
to
seen
watch.
some videos. The most notable one that I saw is when he bit a guy's like
Ear?
ear
We watched
off.
that in class.
It was Evander Holyfield, yeah.
We
Like
watched
a,
it in class.
A chunk of his
I watched the fight when it happened. I remember,
like alive.
yeah.
What was your reaction?
I was shocked. Well, so the thing with Mike Tyson is when he was in his prime for I don't know how many years, a short period of time, but for several years, he was unbeatable for sure. He was unbelievably good.
No human or animal could beat him in a fight. I guarantee you he could take on a bear.
He
one-on-one.
knocked out everybody in like the first round. If it went past the first round, it was a huge surprise.
Is he the best of all time?
It's debatable because his prime was shorter than like say Muhammad Ali, who had a longer career, but he was more dominant during his prime than anybody for sure. He went to jail. He came back from jail. He had his first fight. He beat the guy in like 7 seconds. Like he got the guy got knocked down, and his coach like threw the towel in right away. I can't. It was like a joke. But then he wasn't as good as he was before he went to jail. Like something was different, and he was losing to Evander Holyfield when he bit his ear. So it was already surprising that he was losing, and that he'd lost one other fight. He lost a guy named Buster Douglas. That was a huge upset. Then he was losing to Evander Holyfield. He got frustrated and bit the guy's ear and like bit a chunk off of it.
It's like hard to watch when you see it.
Yeah. Have you've played Mike Tyson's Punch Out, right?
Oh, yes. I got close to being it back in my prime of Nintendo, but I didn't know how to beat the dude who like drank something.
Soda Popinski.
He's hard. I didn't know how to beat him.
He's not that hard.
All right, so the third dude, the hippopotamus guy,
King Hippo.
King Hippo, yes. He's the hardest boss in the game unless
What?
you wait. No, listen to what I have to say. If you don't know the little secret about his belly, there's like no way to beat him.
It's not really a secret. All of them have like a giveaway as to what their weakness is. You just have to figure it out, and then they're not that
Bald
hard.
Bull, his weakness is kind of hard. You have to time it just right.
Yeah, his is hard when he charges at you like that because he'll keep doing it over and over if you dodge it. So you have to time the punch just right. I was really good at it though.
Peter Griffin was stuck on Bald Bull for 4 years,
Yeah,
and he never got past him.
I've seen that episode. That's funny. That was a really fun game though, and he was iconic. I mean, he came from an era of athletes, him and Michael Jordan and a few others that we'll talk about, that they were just larger than life. They were bigger than their sport. Mike Tyson was bigger than boxing. Like everybody knew Mike Tyson. You know, if I asked you right now who's the best boxer in the world,
Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
right now, currently, who's the best boxer in the world?
Is boxing even a thing still?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
UFC is
it's
bigger.
declined in popularity because of
the last
UFC.
big thing I feel like was the whole
Floyd Mayweather, Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and then before that it was like the
Floyd
the
Mayweather,
Pacquiao.
Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. And Mayweather is probably the biggest name in the sport, but he's like at the
most
end of his
annoying.
career, and a lot of people don't like him because
hate
of
him.
the way he fights.
Yeah.
So
You think Mike Tyson in his prime could beat him?
Oh, for sure.
for sure. Not only because I think he's better, but also because Mike Tyson's a lot bigger. He was a heavyweight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No doubt I wouldn't go past first round.
yeah. All right, good choice. Anything else about Mike Tyson?
I would honestly give him the award for the worst athlete tattoo.
His
all
face
time.
tattoo?
Yeah.
I remember when he got that. He's a weird guy, and he has that weird voice, you know, and it's
Yeah.
real high pitched and like he's got a
Got
lisp.
lisp.
Yeah,
The least intimidating.
yeah. but have you seen him training for this? Like,
Yes. He's still so
he
fast.
looks ridiculous. Yeah, he's so awesome. I really hope it happens.
Or like
Like,
charity fight thing.
if you
Yeah.
get a chance to watch his fights, like watch him on YouTube or whatever, it's so exciting to watch. He was just drilling people, uppercuts, first round knockouts. Like it's really fun to
Imagine
watch.
if he never like went to prison and he got more time in his prime.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. All right, my number 5, I went with a football choice for this one, and my choice goes to the Detroit Lions running back Barry Sanders because, dude, this guy was amazing. I grew up in an era when the Dallas Cowboys were the best team in football. They won 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. They had a lot of Hall of Fame players to choose from, and I was a big fan, including the NFL's all-time leading rusher and leader in touchdowns, Emmitt Smith. Same position as Barry Sanders. So for me to pick Barry Sanders over Emmitt Smith is really saying something about how good Barry Sanders was. He was phenomenal. He played for a horrible Detroit Lions team. They were really bad. He had very little help from his offensive line, which for a running back is really important because they're blocking for you, right? He had not a great line, but he still led the league in rushing a lot. Emmitt Smith on the Cowboys had one of the best offensive lines in the history of football. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Emmitt. I loved him. I'm not knocking on him at all. But imagine Barry Sanders behind that same offensive line. He would have been unstoppable. He was making cuts and moves several yards back in the backfield behind the line of scrimmage on the regular just to make normal runs. And often he would break them into big runs. I did go to a Lions versus Cowboys game when I was a kid. It was in 1994. And the Cowboys were fresh off of their second Super Bowl win coming into this season. And the Lions won this game, and they won it in overtime. And it was a big upset because the Cowboys
suck.
Yeah, they sucked. And and the Cowboys were back-to-back Super Bowl champions, right? And I was sad that they lost, but it went to overtime. So I was kind of like, oh, this is cool. I got to see an extra part of the game because going to games was a luxury for me. It's not something I did often, right?
Yeah.
It was a big treat. The other thing about this game is that it was Barry Sanders versus Emmitt Smith. They put on a show. Both of them had a tremendous game. Barry Sanders rushed for 194 yards, which is a ton in an NFL game. He almost had 200 yards. Emmitt Smith had 143 yards rushing and 49 receiving, so he had a total of 182 yards. They both had like amazing games, and I loved Emmitt Smith at the time, and I was like, man, this Barry Sanders guy is so really good. I remember leaving that game thinking, he's better than Emmitt. Like, that's what I thought at the time, and it really stuck with me. Just really cool. And career wise, Barry retired. He's a weird guy. He's a quiet guy. He's humble. He didn't really care about records or accolades or that kind of stuff. He wanted to win, so he didn't like playing for the Lions, but he stayed with them anyways. And then at the end of his career, he was just shy of breaking Walter Payton's rushing record, and he retired. And he was still in his prime. Like, he could have easily broken the record. He just walked away. He let Emmitt Smith do it instead and retired, and that was it. So he also had one of the greatest single seasons ever in the history of college football when he played for Oklahoma State, won a Heisman. Just a phenomenal football player. So he's my number 5.
Good choice.
Thank you. All right,
Moving on.
Cade, what's your
Number 4.
Okay, you know what I said last time about this one might be the most diverse on my list? I take that back. This one's definitely way out there, and honestly, I don't know how you guys are going to feel about it. I chose an esports player.
That's fine.
Wait,
they're athletes too.
Gamer?
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking X Games.
No.
Oh, so he's a gamer.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I used to watch him play.
Maybe he's a mathlete.
Who is it? Pamaj?
Pamaj, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this guy. You used to watch him all the time.
Yeah,
you even bought his controller, like his Xbox
that was like
controller,
$200 something,
and broke it.
Yeah, I broke it. Yeah,
I might have
doesn't
broken
work.
it.
Yeah, that was definitely you. You definitely broke it. I was, I was so mad.
So what makes Pamaj so special?
I mean, I was good at I was really good at Call of Duty, and there was nothing more than I wanted to join a game and him be in that game just so I could show him how good I was and see how good I compared to like someone that was actually like good.
Yeah.
I mean, like for like esports and Call of Duty and stuff like that, I guess he was like in his prime. Like teams wanted him like so bad they would like pay money just like imagine people paying you to play video games.
Yeah.
Like just to join a team and play on your own. Like
yeah,
that's ridiculous.
This sounds so like reminiscent of a story that happened in my life. I'll tell you about in a minute.
But he was so good. And I loved watching his videos. He was a terrible YouTuber. Like he's not funny at all. His editing sucks. And, like it's so bad, but he's just so good. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah, I remember you watched him a lot. But it's funny you say that because when I was in college, my roommate Brian played StarCraft.
Yeah,
and so did my other roommates.
You told us this story before, I think.
Oh, I did? Okay, well, I'll tell it anyways because maybe our listeners don't know. But Brian played StarCraft a lot. I played every now and then. I sucked compared to Brian and my other roommates, but it was fun.
It's hard.
It is hard, and they played a lot, and I didn't. But Brian got really good, and so did Jordan. And there was the guy at the time who was, I guess, like Pamaj, but for StarCraft, his tag name, his username was XDS Gur. XDS was his clan, and then Gur was his like username. And he was Canadian, but he moved to, I want to say it was Korea, where StarCraft is like you can have a career playing StarCraft. They pay you to play on TV and stuff. And he was beating all the Koreans who were like really, really good at StarCraft. And he was the best in the world. He was famous. And he had this match that at the time was like well known within the StarCraft community because a guy was going to beat him. Like you could watch, how you can record a match and watch it. Like, so they didn't know everything that was going on, but we get to see it as viewers. And this dude, he had him beat. Like he pulled this maneuver where like, oh my gosh, XDS Gur is about to lose. And XDS Gur scared him off with some weird tactic. Like he had nothing to really defend it, but he just kind of scared him off a little bit, enough to where the guy pulled back and then gave Gur more time to come back and beat him. And that guy that should have beaten XDS Gur became kind of well known because he's the guy that should have beaten him. Brian played that guy and beat him.
That's great.
In like a ranked match, or what they called them ladder matches at the time. And that was
so he beat the guy who
should have beaten XDS Gur, but didn't. So it's funny to hear you say that because like that's what Gur was. Like he was like Pomage, I guess.
Did Brian beat him like easily, or was it like
I don't remember.
And at least where I went to school at, Pomage was big. And he switched clans. He went from Face to Optic, which those are the two biggest clans. Like,
or they were.
They were the biggest clans, and they would be like rivals and stuff like that. So I remember the day he switched, he uploaded a video on it, on how he switched clans. And I remember going to school and all my friends, like, everyone was talking about it. Like he was like a real athlete or something.
Yeah.
Like, like it was crazy.
That is crazy.
And I wanted to see how good I was against him because I was ranked higher than him in the global rankings.
Huh.
I mean, the top guys, a lot of them are hackers, but I was ranked really high when he was in his prime. So I wanted to see how good I was against him in that one game.
That's cool. I like that choice. Good choice. All right, Jet, what's your number 4?
Bo Jackson.
Okay, Bo Jackson.
This is one of the coolest guys ever. Okay, so first of all, he broke a bat on his head, which I'm convinced that's like, he's the only guy who can do that in the world.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm not saying he could be, but like maybe he could have been the best football player of all time if he didn't get injured, right?
He had the potential to be truly great, yes.
Number 3, even when he retired, he's still the coolest dude of all time.
Yeah.
He lives in like a shack in the middle of the woods, and he builds arrows.
And bows and arrows.
And goes hunting.
Who wins in a fight, him or Mike Tyson?
I mean, I have a hard time betting against Bo Jackson in any athletic competition. However, I got to pick Mike Tyson in a fight.
I don't know if anyone could beat Mike Tyson in his prime.
Bo Jackson, I didn't put him on my list, but I have some stuff on him because I chose to talk about him for the fun fact of the week. So maybe I'll hold off on some of that kind of stuff. But you're right, his athletic prowess is like mythical almost on what people think he can do. And the thing is, he's so good at stuff that I believe it.
I feel like he could play any sport and be good at it.
You know what? I'll just go into the fun fact of the week now, and we can skip over that section when we get there because it's relevant.
So
right?
he was really good at football. Okay.
He was. He won the Heisman Trophy when he went to school at Auburn. He was drafted to play football.
Did he play baseball in college?
He did. He lettered in 3 sports in college.
Okay.
I don't know what the third one was. Maybe basketball or track and field, I think. So it's football, baseball, track and field. So this is his story in a nutshell, if I remember correctly from that documentary where we saw that he made bows and arrows. He had finished his football season at Auburn, his final football season, but still had baseball to go because baseball plays in the spring, right? Yeah. He was being courted by NFL teams because he was the best player in football. He was going to go number 1 overall. I believe it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers drafted. They said, we're going to draft you number 1, and we want you to come look at our stuff, our facilities, and give you a tour. And he's like, okay, but I don't want to break any rules because I'm still in school and I still have baseball season. And there's all these rules for athletes, like they can't get things paid for, certain things paid for, because then they're not considered amateur anymore. If you're getting paid for stuff, you're considered professional. You can't play college sports.
Yeah.
And they guaranteed him they did it all correctly. He went and made his visit there. He came back and then found out you broke a rule. You can't play baseball your senior year. And he was pissed off at Tampa Bay for screwing it up. So he said, I don't care if you draft me number 1. I'm not playing for your team. They drafted him number 1 overall in the draft. And he still didn't go to the NFL, even though he was the best football player in the world and had all this money like waiting for him on a plate. He said, no, I'm going to go play baseball. He went and played baseball instead for the Kansas City Royals. As a baseball player, he showed flashes of brilliance, especially defensively. He was unbelievably good defensively. He had a cannon for an arm. He could cover so much ground, and he was super fast. As a hitter, he was still like learning how to hit in the major leagues, but he was good. I mean, he was good enough to be an all-star. He just wasn't. He never realized his potential. Then I think it was a year or two later, the Oakland Raiders said, "Hey man, we want you to play football. Will you play football for us?" And he's like, "Yeah." So then that's when he became, he was already famous, but he became super famous because he was playing football and baseball at the same time. And I thought that was cool though. He like stuck to his principle, He's like,
How good was he at football?
at football, his rookie season in one of the games he ran for 227 yards. It was a record for the Oakland Raiders for like 10 years until somebody broke it. He had the potential to be an all-time great. He got tackled weird one time and it broke his hip or something, and he was never the same afterwards.
That's so sad.
At baseball either. Like he was never the
I
same.
think
Yeah,
that always
like,
happen in football. I feel like that always happens.
He had
Yeah.
so much potential.
Yeah. Yeah. And my fun fact about him was actually talking about all the stuff he could do because he was such a phenomenal athlete. And it's just weird. I remember hearing stories when I was a kid about things he could do. Like one of them was he could do a backflip out of a pool and land on his feet. I'm like, there's no way anybody could do that, right? Mm-hmm. But then I read this thing online today when I was looking at this, and this is a quote from his baseball coach from high school. He said, let me find it here. He said, okay, so his team had just won the county championship and they were celebrating, and Bo was standing in water up to his waist, and he decided to get out of the water. All of a sudden he jumps up, does a backflip out of the water, and lands on his feet. And the coach is like, he said to his girlfriend, "Did you just see that? Like, that's insane! Like, how could?" And he was a high school kid at the time, So he
It's a feat. It was a trend on Instagram where people try to jump out of a pool and land on their feet, like doing a box jump,
Yes,
like waist high water or like a little bit higher, like belly
But a
button area.
backflip?
Like, and that was like a challenge,
right.
like backflipping.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, I can't even imagine being able to do stuff like that. It's just crazy. Guy was unbelievably good. I mean, he has this catch that I always will remember, where he was running backwards and he was going like full speed to get to the ball, and he caught it and he couldn't stop himself in time before he hit the wall. So a lot of times you see players just kind of crash into the wall. He decided to run along the wall instead. So he like ran up, and he was almost sideways. Like he was almost running sideways on the center field wall. I'm like, what the heck? Who is this guy? He's insane.
They say he's gonna like run up the wall and do a backflip off.
That's something you would do.
Yeah.
All right, so
I mean, doing a backflip off a wall is easier than doing it standing.
true.
Okay.
That's your number 4. Anything
Yeah,
else to add
you're
about Bo
number 4.
Jackson?
No.
All right, my number 4, I went with a tennis player.
Nice.
Rafa Nadal is my choice. I actually had a hard time a little bit because I really like Pete Sampras too. He's from the 90s and early 2000s, but I picked Rafa. Tennis is my second favorite sport after baseball, and in my opinion, it's the world's most beautiful sport. I've had a few favorite players over my lifetime, but I had to pick Rafa overall. The Spaniard, he's the king of clay. He holds ridiculous records on clay. He's won 12 French Open titles. French is one of the 4
Is he the best
Grand
clay
Slams.
player of all time?
Easily, hands down. His record at the French Open is 93-2. It's insane.
Is Federer better?
Federer, okay, probably. I mean, if you're going to rank the all-time players, Federer is 1A and Nadal is 1B. Federer has more Grand Slams. Nadal has a better head-to-head record against Federer.
Has Federer ever beat him on clay?
Yes, but not at the French Open. They have different surfaces they play tennis on: grass, hard court, and clay.
Isn't clay the hardest?
Most people think they call it the neutralizer because it makes everybody equal. Kind of like the advantages that you would have on the other courts go away on clay, and for whatever reason, Rafa has figured out how to always win on clay. He'll never be surpassed, his records there. And he has won on all the other surfaces too. He has all 4 Grand Slams. He has a gold medal in the Olympics. It's called the Career Golden Slam, I think is what it's called. So he's got all the accolades.
Isn't he super humble too?
Yeah, that's what my point was here. He's very, very humble. He like whenever he talks, he recognizes, like, although he's had tremendous levels of success, he's just so humble about the gifts that he has and appreciative of his opponents always. And it's really cool to see somebody like that. He has like no ego, it feels like. He's just a super humble guy. And his first Wimbledon title, which he won against Roger Federer, is the greatest tennis match I've ever seen in my life.
But the one that went on for like 2 days and I had a movie on it.
That was really
Shia
cool
LaBeouf.
that it went that long, but it wasn't the greatest match I've ever seen. It was too like...
There's a movie on it though.
Yeah. It was an insane match, but not a great match.
You realize how weird a lot of tennis players look? Like Federer's a weird looking guy.
A little bit.
Nadal's a good looking guy.
Yeah.
How old
Yeah.
is Nadal now?
He's like 33 maybe.
Is he ahead of his prime?
He's past his prime, yeah. But he's still good
Still
enough
good.
to win. He won 2 Grand Slams
I
last
think he's
year.
way older than 33. Like, he doesn't look older, but, like, how
He's just-
long y'all
he's-
have been talking about him?
He's been
You guys
playing,
have been watching them for...
Yeah, I mean, he started playing when he was in his teens, so he's been around for 15 years, All right, so that's my number 4.
Moving on.
Anything else to add about Rafa Nadal?
No.
All right, Cade, what's your...
Number 3.
Nada.
I chose a basketball player.
Okay.
I chose LeBron, obviously. I wasn't around to watch Michael Jordan play, so I can't pick someone that I just haven't seen any.
Yeah.
Like, or watched him play in his prime. I've watched LeBron play in his prime. I mean,
Yeah.
he's unstoppable compared
He's
to
the
like anyone else.
Best player of this generation.
He's super athletic too. Who'd win in a fight, Bo Jackson or LeBron James?
That's
LeBron
fine.
James is really athletic.
He is, and he's huge.
Yeah.
He's bigger than Bo. For
Mike
sure.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Like
Mike Jordan, not
Bo
LeBron
Jackson.
James.
Wait, who?
Bo Jackson.
Okay. Bo Jackson or LeBron?
Yeah,
Bo Jackson. He's way stronger.
I think LeBron.
I think
wins.
LeBron is stronger.
Mike Tyson or LeBron.
Probably Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson can beat
Shaq or
anyone.
Mike
No-
Tyson.
Probably
no-
Shaq.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know
dude.
how you.
Okay.
You
I
know
don't
how
think,
big
I don't
Shaq
think Mike
is?
Tyson could like punch him in the face. I don't. But I take
He
that
has
back.
body blows.
I take that back because well, you're right. And Charles Barkley kind of beat Shaq in a fight once, and he's a lot smaller than Shaq. So
I did watch that.
Okay,
yeah.
I
Got
get.
slapped.
I get it when you say, yeah. Okay, someone can beat someone because they're way bigger, and so what? The other dude's strong, but the other dude's way bigger. Mike Tyson, though, he's like a professional boxer.
you're right. I
And
don't
he's
know. It's hard
jacked.
to say.
He's
I just like
and
I just
Shaq
watched
is
this
a little
video.
bit chubby.
I have one.
Are you talking about the video of Shaq where he was playing? He's playing a pickup game, or he's playing a game of horse with Rob Gronkowski recently.
Yeah, he like pitched him on the court.
and he just ripped the rim
Yeah.
off.
Yeah, he just grabbed him and
ripped
just
it
like.
off. He like ripped it off and like threw it on the ground. And
Have you seen how many
Gronkowski's like,
rims-
okay, you win.
Have you seen how many rims he's broken?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Dude is really strong.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. Tyson's a trained professional fighter and is a lot faster, and he's still ridiculously strong too. So maybe Mike Tyson wins. It's just hard to imagine somebody that gigantic losing a fight. But if anybody could do it, it would be Mike Tyson.
the only.
Or
He
Zeus.
had something to say about that.
How big was Andre the Giant? Is he bigger than Mike Tyson? Not Mike Tyson.
Shaq?
Shaq.
Yeah, he is.
Okay, he would be tough to fight.
I think.
However,
I think Shaq could
Wesley
beat
beat
him.
him in a fight.
You're right. Choked him out. All right. Anything else to add about? Who'd you say?
We got sidetracked.
LeBron James?
LeBron.
I mean, he's
got. I mean, everyone just know. I just know who he is. Everyone knows who he is.
he's the best player of this generation.
Michael Jordan definitely has better shoes. LeBron's shoes are really ugly and they're worth like almost nothing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay.
Michael Jordan's shoes are better.
And so was his career.
Yes.
All right, Jet. Who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Abraham Lincoln.
He was a wrestler.
Yes.
Wow.
This is the most successful athlete of all time. He had the Emancipation Proclamation. And
You've never been able to say that.
and
was
he
the
was a
worst one
wrestler.
you've done.
So he's inspired every single wrestler, and he's ended slavery. He's a legendary president and athlete.
And a witch hunter.
Vampire hunter.
Vampire, not witch hunter.
What?
They did do witch hunting during that time, but
Not Abraham, though.
And he has a cool beard.
Does have a cool beard. Yeah. Okay, I dig it. I like it.
I thought y'all would.
I watched the
against
video.
that choice.
People said he was a really funny guy to be around, and he was also really awkward.
Yeah.
The way he walked and like sat down and just did anything, he was awkward physically.
Wait, so like funny, like to make fun of him?
No, he was funny like as he was.
Oh,
he had a
like
good
a
sense
funny
of
guy.
humor.
Okay.
Interesting.
I think he's my second favorite president.
Who's your first?
I like JFK.
Okay.
He's
Charismatic.
a cool guy. Yeah.
Over Abraham,
Yeah.
bro. But no one has done the enhancitation of proclamation
Can be done.
to end slavery.
Unless slavery comes back, only one person can do it.
I mean, but he like mostly ended it,
Yeah.
or like ended half of
whatever.
All right. All right. Anything else to add about Mr. Lincoln?
it. No,
Okay.
best president of all time.
All right. My number 3, I'll give you a clue. Heroes get remembered, kid, but legends never die. Who is this legend I'm talking about?
Michael Jordan.
Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
Oh, we're allowed to choose from movies.
Yeah, you can. I mean, why
Wait,
not?
I should have
what?
thought about that, bro.
That's not allowed.
Not that often we watch a movie where the real hero isn't the main protagonist, but they pulled it off in The Sandlot because Benny the Jet Rodriguez was the hero who shepherded the main protagonist, Smalls, into making friendships, learning baseball, and having the greatest summer of their lives. He also bested Hercules. He wore PF Flyers. He hit the cover off of a baseball. He stole home when he was playing
Yeah.
for the Dodgers.
Benny is
Didn't you do that all the time though?
Yeah, but not if they're the Dodgers in the major leagues. That was on the high school team.
Okay, but Benny is easily actually he's the second best character in the movie. Squints is number 1.
Squints is great, but Benny's the better athlete. And you can't say enough great stuff about this kid. Truly a legend and number 3 athlete of all time. Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
What's Smalls?
You're killing me, Smalls.
Smalls wouldn't have been anything if it wasn't for Benny.
That's what I just described.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, you need to listen. Put on your headphones. All right, kid, what's your...
Number 2.
I have Bo Nickel as my
nice.
number 2.
I like that pick.
I had a lot of wrestlers to choose from, but no one is as exciting and unpredictable and just unbelievable to watch.
Yeah.
I've never seen any wrestler do stuff Bo Nickel has done. He makes it look so easy.
He does. You're right. For our listeners who don't know, Bo Nickel
Friend of mine.
is a friend of ours. He grew up and went to our high school. And watched Cade wrestle as a youth wrestler and ended up going to Penn State, which has been the best wrestling program for the last
10 years.
plus years.
Since Kale's been there, so like 10
Yeah,
years.
so Cale Henderson, who was, I thought, going to be on your list, but you picked Bo Nickel instead.
Cool.
And Bo won 3 national championships in his 4 years there, and he should have won the 4th one. He was winning the match and went for one of his signature big moves when he didn't need to.
And messed it up at the worst time.
Ended up costing him. But he did win 3 national championships. He was often described as the most dangerous wrestler in the country during his 4 years in college. During his senior
Probably
year,
had the most exciting NCAA finals matches.
Yeah. Well, because he's always going for pins.
It was insane.
He doesn't go for like a win. He goes for like a major victory
Yeah.
or a pin every time. And he won the Hodge Trophy his senior year, which is the wrestling
Heisman.
equivalent for the Heisman. And a cool story about Bo is, like we said, we knew him growing up through the program. During Cade's very first state championship run in youth wrestling, I was in the corner of the match coaching, and I was also holding the video camera, and Bo Nickel came up behind me and said, "Hey, do you want me to record for you?" And I'm like, "Oh, that'd be great, so I can focus on coaching you." And he held the camera and recorded your match, and that's really cool. Your first state championship match, Bo Nickel recorded it for you. When you lost your freshman year in the finals, I put kind of a thoughtful post on Facebook about your season and how well you did. And Bo was one of the guys who commented on it about how he had to go through the same thing his freshman year in high school. So really cool guy. It's cool that he's been part of your career in wrestling, and that's a really good choice.
Yeah, so fun to watch.
And he's got potential to, wrestle internationally and do things.
He did great his first year out of college.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in a tough bracket.
And I heard he wants to do MMA also.
He did a he did a grappling match against a really good grappler, like a professional one, a really good one. And the guy stood no chance at taking him down to the ground at all. Once you're on the ground, the guy outbested him, but there's no chance that he could take him down in a million years. He suplexed him in the middle of the match. The guy was walking behind him, wanting him to grab his leg or something so he could outmaneuver him. And Bo just locked around his waist and threw him over. It would have been 5 points in Greco or freestyle, but
that's cool.
So fun to watch.
Bo's awesome for sure.
Definitely the most fun to watch collegiate wrestler.
Agreed.
All time.
Agreed. Even more than David Taylor, and I love
that was
David
my other
Taylor.
choice. Was David Taylor, because I used to watch him when he was in college.
He was really fun to watch too, but Bo was even more exciting.
Yeah.
I agree. All right, Jet, what's your number 2?
Adrian Beltre.
Oh, I love that pick.
I have a really special connection. There has been times when I was into baseball that I wanted him to be my number 1 because he was my favorite current. But I got to experience a lot of his games, first of all, and second of all, I got to experience his 3,000th hit.
Yeah, we did. We went to the game. Do you remember?
So hot.
It was like a million degrees.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people there wanting to see it happen.
Yeah, it was on a Sunday afternoon in Texas.
I saw
July.
at least I saw at least 50 people just leave the stadium because they couldn't.
Yeah, people were getting heat strokes and people were getting sun, and our seats were in the sun there was no shade.
However, it was definitely worth it.
It was worth it. We got to see his 3,000th hit, and third baseman for the Rangers. He also played for the Dodgers for a while, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer for sure when his time comes. And
He's from the Dominican Republic.
I think so. He's from one of the Latin countries, the same one as Miguel Cabrera, and Felix Hernandez, but I don't know which one it is.
A lot of baseball players come from the Dominican Republic.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and the other thing about Adrian Beltre, in addition to being an awesome baseball player that we all got to see, he had the most fun personality for a baseball player out of anybody.
He played around with all his teammates.
Yeah, he's funny. He played with the other teams
and
too.
Also, when Rutnid Odor got in a fight with Bautista, he was the one who held.
He held back Bautista.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although he was friends with Bautista for some reason.
They are from the same country,
Oh.
and he saw Bautista get clocked, and he's like, if he goes back in there,
That's the coolest punch in baseball history.
yeah, for sure, for sure. But he was protecting him from getting seriously hurt, and then
Yeah.
also, still also defending his team. Like,
I still see it on T-shirts sometimes.
yeah, yeah. I like that pick. Adrian Beltre is great.
He is.
I miss him already. He retired in 2018.
Also, he has like that iconic one knee thing.
Yeah, he drops to a knee when he swings.
It's like so cool.
And still hits home runs. Yeah, he's a very cool player to watch.
You think is he gonna make the Hall of Fame?
He just said he's gonna be
First ballot Hall of Famer as soon as his time is ready. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are you listening?
Isn't there like a minimum of like 5 years after you retire?
Yeah.
or something
You have
like
to wait 5 years, and then if you make it your first year, you're called a first ballot.
Has it
Hall
been
of Famer.
5 years?
No.
2?
He retired in 2018. I just said that also.
3 years.
2023, he'll be eligible.
So in 2 years.
3 years.
3 years.
Yes.
Okay, Dad. What's our number 2?
Yeah, that was tough to get through. My number 2, I went with a basketball player, which
Okay.
obviously is going to be Michael Jordan. There's not much that needs to be said about this guy that everyone doesn't already know, so I'll keep it short. He is the greatest of all time. I was lucky enough to grow up watching him. There's a quote I remember when he retired 3 times, and the first time was in 1993. He was gone for a couple of years and came back and then won 3 more championships. But the first time he retired, after coming off back-to-back-to-back championships,
Three-peat.
his first three-peat. Somebody said about him, I used to think that Michael Jordan was the Babe Ruth of basketball, but I've realized now Babe Ruth is the Michael Jordan of baseball.
Whoa.
Like, he's that transcendental, And I would agree. I mean, I don't know if I'd say he's bigger than Babe Ruth, but they're on that same level of just being bigger than their sport, like Mike Tyson was, like Bo Jackson could have been if he had remained healthy, and he was for a short amount of time. He just gigantic figures. He has the shoes. He had Gatorade. He had McDonald's. Like, he was everywhere. His shoes are still the most popular shoes that everybody wants, and it's been
His original pair, his first line of Chicago the 1985 Chicago release of the Jordan 1s.
Yeah.
Those go for in good. If you find them in good condition, $30,000 minimum.
30
Yeah, $30,000 minimum
for shoes.
for shoes, and those are in good condition.
Yeah.
A perfect condition with the original box and everything like that. I can see it go upwards to $100,000.
That's nuts. That's crazy.
And even his release of the Royal colorway, the blue, black and blue ones, those go for so much, too, like several thousand.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he's still just as cool as he was back then, and I don't know, all that just, when
Is he tall?
6'6".
That was pretty tall.
Yeah. Same height as my dad, actually. So yeah, Michael Jordan, number 2. You can't say enough about the guy. I mean, he should beat all 3 of our number 1, really.
I think I know your number 1, Dad. And for Cade, I don't know.
Number 1.
I chose Conor McGregor for my number 1.
Okay. UFC fighter.
He has style.
I guess, yeah. He's just like every other rich guy, wears like suits and stuff.
I think he
but-
means his
His
way he
walk.
carries himself.
Oh yeah,
His walk is
personality
very
is-
stylish.
People hate him because of how cocky he is, but I love it. He does it in the best way.
You do that
possible.
walk all the time, like when we're
It's
at Walmart.
it's fun. It's just I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah.
And he's iconic, I guess, for
Yeah.
MMA. I guess. I mean,
What I like about him is that he is cocky, but he's also like he's kind of earned it because he's so good, but he's also fearless. He fought Floyd Mayweather in the sport. Floyd Mayweather is one of the best boxers of all time, and he fought him in his sport,
he did good.
and he did well. Yeah, he fought him well, like better than most of Floyd Mayweather's opponents did.
What if Floyd went to UFC?
oh
Conor
my God,
would destroy
he'd
him.
rock him.
Conor would destroy
Yeah.
him.
Why didn't he like offer like Floyd to come to his sport?
He never would have done it. He
Yeah.
barely boxes. He dances around everybody.
Yeah, he wouldn't last first round against Conor
Can
McGregor.
like just no one touch him?
No, but he's lost before. But
That's like-
Floyd
he lost to-
Mayweather is only
he lost
trained
to
at
Khabib.
boxing.
No, like Floyd.
Oh yeah, it's hard. It's like impossible to punch him, basically. But the other thing about him is he does respect people when it's due. He respected Floyd Mayweather. There have been talks about him fighting Anderson Silva, and he's said in the past Anderson Silva is the greatest UFC fighter of all time.
when he had that rivalry with Nate Diaz, I mean, both of them were like, "Oh yeah, like fuck that guy, I hate him or whatever." But they're like, "Oh yeah, I respect. I mean, he's a great fighter,
Yeah.
and like he's a good guy. Like he's cocky, but then like after the fights, a lot of time he's respectful.
Yeah, but
Sometimes he's not.
He does do stupid things sometimes, like
Throw chairs
throwing-
through bus windows and stuff like that. But I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
But he is very exciting for
He's
sure.
fun to watch.
Does he
And,
trash talk
against
well?
Aldo? Have you seen the fight
You
against?
could learn some trash talking skills from
Is
Conor McGregor.
Is his name Jose Aldo? I don't know. He's really good, like as a lightweight fighter, and like I remember watching his match like when it was happening because I was watching it on Instagram. Someone was like live streaming it. I was watching it because it was gonna be this like great match, like two great fighters going against. It lasted like 13 seconds.
Yeah.
The guy charged in, Connor hit him with the left.
Oh, is that where he just
Ow.
kinda jabbed
Yeah, he just
him?
kind of jabbed him, and the guy he jabs and like people get knocked out from it.
He's got
doesn't-
like
he doesn't-
perfect precision accuracy.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's hitting very hard, but after like 5 hits, the guy's like dazed already.
Yeah.
And I remember watching his recent fight with Cowboy, and he like hugged him and then hit him with his shoulder.
Yeah,
like,
he was hitting him
3
with his
times,
shoulder,
And
yeah.
then, like,
Who
the guy
won?
was already out.
Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and like the first, that was like
He
47 seconds
basically
long.
he basically beat him with his shoulder.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what happened.
He like he hugged him and then hit him with his shoulder and then back down, hit him. And he was
Yeah.
done.
That was crazy. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, Jet, what's your number one?
Ricky Henderson.
I knew it was going to be Ricky.
No other baseball player has as much style as him.
Yes, arguably. I would agree.
Like who else?
Well, Griffey had a lot of style too.
No.
You guys gonna argue about your number
Okay,
ones?
his swing.
And,
yes.
and the backwards hat. And he made things
Okay,
look cool.
the backwards hat and the swing is all he had going.
No,
Ricky had
man.
the bat flip and like the shirt wrinkle and the way like he ran around bases and what he said.
Yeah.
It was like no other player, especially Griffey.
They were different kinds of style, but they were both cool, I guess is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
but just Ricky's cooler.
I love Ricky. Don't get me wrong. I mean, if I had done just my straight up 5 favorite athletes, he would have been number 2 on my list. He didn't make my list because I limited it to 1 baseball player, unless you count Benny the Jet Rodriguez, and I had 2. But
You chose Benny Rodriguez over Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Ricky is really cool for me as an athlete because I loved he was my favorite player as a kid for some amount of time. I had different players alternate, but I do remember a period where like Ricky was the man for me, and it was right around the same age when you found Ricky documentary, School of Ricky.
Yeah.
And you watched it and he became your favorite player, and it wasn't my influence that happened. It's because you watched that and you thought he was cool and you were playing baseball at that time. And I'm like, this is cool because he's been retired since 2004, but somehow my son who was born in 2007 found him and it's his favorite player too. And you tried to like emulate him when you'd play, you'd get on the base paths and you'd kind of like take his lead off and you'd try to steal bases like him. And you were fast. You were probably the fastest kid on your team. So that was cool. And then we decided to collect Rickies together, and we ended up getting the number 6 Ricky Henderson collection in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I'm still collecting. Yeah.
I wish I
Yeah.
still played baseball or stuck with it when I was a little kid.
Yeah. Me too.
Definitely the most fun sport I've played.
Yeah.
Best team sport.
Best team sport for sure.
Like
Absolutely.
wrestling is like a good sport and all, but just to play for fun, I'd definitely pick baseball. Like just like I'd never like pick to wrestle Cade just for fun over like throwing a ball with all of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though I don't have a choice when Cade wrestles me.
And like in baseball, I feel like a lot of players have opportunities. Like no matter their like body size, you can be short and play. You can be tall and play. You can be
Sure.
big and play. You can be. I feel like it's much more open to people.
Yeah. It's more of a skill sport than an athletic sport. So
Yeah.
that's true. I mean, it helps to be tall and strong.
Yeah,
obviously, but like
you don't
at guys
have
like,
to be.
Look at guys like Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You don't have to be because look at Jose Altuve.
Yeah.
Anything else to add about Ricky? Do you like him on the A's or the Yankees?
A's.
Good
Who
choice.
likes him on the Yankees?
Good choice,
So-
my man. Good
Oh,
choice.
actually, Padres.
Blue Jays. He won a World Series with the Blue Jays.
He did?
Yeah. And with the
Okay,
A's.
definitely A's.
Yeah, same when I think Ricky, I think A's.
And
we have
definitely Mariners for Griffey.
Yeah, and that's my number 1. Obviously, is Ken Griffey Jr., who has a little bit more style than Ricky.
Isn't he chubby now?
He lost a lot of weight. Actually, he looked really good on the documentary that
Oh,
came
he
out.
did?
Yeah, there's a documentary. If you haven't seen it, if you're a baseball fan, it's on MLB Network. It's also on YouTube now. It's called Junior. If you're a Griffey fan, go watch it. It's
But for
really
a little
good.
bit, he was a teddy bear.
he was. Yeah, but he looked really good for the
Oh,
documentary.
and I've met Ricky in real life.
That's true. We did. We took a road trip and we met Ricky.
I did too.
It was an awesome road trip.
Yeah.
I fell asleep behind the curtains.
What did Ricky say to you when you showed him
There
your
you
jersey?
go.
There you go. That's right. So Green.
What something that does suck though. We waited forever, and like because Ricky was like talking to all these people.
Yeah.
But he had to like kind of speed it up because there was like so many people.
Yeah.
And so I was like one of those where he talked to me, but like I didn't get like a full conversation.
But you hear these stories about athletes and other celebrities like movie stars that when you meet them, they're jerks, you know,
Yeah.
and they don't even like he took the time to really talk to you, to look at your jersey, to shake your hand. He let you come back there to take a picture. Maybe
how many people he has to talk to.
Yeah, I know, and maybe he's not always like that.
And he's not a huge like celebrity like some of these other people. Like they say, like, oh, this guy's a jerk. When I met him in person, like,
yeah.
he
And
probably.
I'd
How
heard
many
that
fans he's seen probably.
and I've heard that literally about every celebrity ever. Like
Yeah.
they're always like, that guy's a jerk because they're one experience where they tried to run him down in an elevator for an autograph or something. I don't know, but I was really happy that you being at the age you were at and impressionable, and Ricky kind of being your idol at the time, he was really good with you. Like he did take time, and we have a really cool picture of you two together, and that was a really cool trip. Yeah.
Remember you practicing your handshake for when you shake his hand. You didn't want to seem like a little kid.
Yeah. So
I'm gonna show him that I got a firm.
Yeah, I'm
handshake.
like, I remember that, but when I got to him, like, I totally forgot about it. I gave like the wimpiest handshake.
Oh, did you really?
I'm like, damn it.
That's funny. All right, so my number one, Ken Griffey Jr. My number two was Michael Jordan. How can anybody be above him, right? Well, there's this video floating around on YouTube where Michael Jordan goes up to Ken Griffey Jr. and says, "Can I have your autograph, Mr. Griffey?"
No way.
Yes, there is. I promise. Go look it
I
up.
watched it with you.
Yeah, you
showed
did.
me.
How cool is that? Like Michael
What
Jordan.
was Griffey like reaction?
He's like, yeah, sure. He's sitting in a chair in a locker room, and he signed a bat for Michael and gave it back to him. Michael Jordan's like, oh man, this is cool. Like Ken Griffey Jr. signed this bat for me. That's how cool
Was
Ken
Michael
Griffey
Jordan
Jr. was.
even famous at the time?
Yeah, he was the biggest athlete in the world at the time.
It's crazy.
It's just about as cool as you can get. Griffey was everything I wanted to be growing up. He was so cool. He had monster home runs. He had that swing, and he played the game right. He always played hard. And his career really only suffered because he played so hard that he hurt himself, and he didn't use illegal performance-enhancing drugs
Like people did at the time.
like other people did at the time, like Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire and Roger Clemens, to extend their careers and their health to last until their mid-40s.
Imagine if
Griffey
he
was
did use
clean.
it.
Imagine if he did. I mean, the year that Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa, everybody remembers those two because they're the ones that passed Roger Maris. Roger Maris had the record for 61 home runs in a season. There were three players chasing that year. Griffey was the other one. He finished with 56 home runs. He had 56 home runs 2 years in a row, clean, where McGuire and Sosa passed 61, but they were obviously cheating, both of them. And a lot of people forget that Griffey was in that race too that saved baseball. And you're right, Jed. If he had been using that kind of stuff, imagine what he could have done. I mean, he was better. He was a better home run hitter than Barry Bonds before Barry Bonds started juicing.
That's crazy.
He was almost as good as McGuire and Sosa at hitting home runs, even though they were juicing. And he was a better player than them overall without the juice. He was, because he hit for better average. He was a better fielder. He was a better player. So yeah, I mean, it kind of makes me mad when I think about that kind of stuff. But at the same time, baseball was exciting, and it did benefit from those players having.
And his
monster
swing
years.
is like so unique. Like
So pretty.
we even try to like replicate it, and like you just can't, you know.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, it's impossible. I mean,
And the backwards hat is also obviously awesome.
yeah, and he was like, he had his own shoe line, and baseball players don't get shoe lines. You
His
know,
are actually kind of cool.
and they are cool. Like they talked about it on the documentary. Gary Payton, who's a basketball player during the '90s, he was like, "Dude, man, we all had Griffeys, you know, like a baseball player with his own shoe." And LeBron James was on that documentary. He's talking about growing. He's like, Griffey was the black athlete that I looked up to that made baseball look cool. You know, like for a guy that's LeBron James's athleticism and height, he's going to be a tight end or he's going to be a power forward. You know, there's not a whole lot of other options, but he was like, Griffey made me want to play baseball. That's how cool he was. And he just really was. He was larger than life too. And his career, the first half of his career was amazing. The second half, he was injured the whole time. He still finished among the greats, the all-time greats. I have a very personal story about why I'm connected to Griffey the way I am with my friend Matt Perez. That will stick with me forever. And I still wear my hat backwards because of Griffey.
So if you actually did this list, number 1 would be Griffey, then 2 would be like a Mickey Mantle, right?
It'd be tough to choose between Mickey and Ricky.
Bro,
I don't think there's anything cooler than Michael Jordan asking for your autograph.
That's what I'm saying.
Just think about it.
Yeah.
Like,
And he was
the
excited.
biggest athlete of all time. I have to say Michael Jordan over Babe Ruth. Like,
Yeah.
I just think he is. Like, him asking for your autograph?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
But the thing is that like Babe Ruth was famous like way before Michael
yeah.
Jordan. So think
There's
about
no way of
We weren't-
telling, but like
We weren't
like 5 years after Babe Ruth retired, he was probably just as big as Michael Jordan is right now.
probably. It's tough to say. Babe Ruth is still legendary. He's the calling your shot to center field and all that in the World Series. All that stuff is the stuff of legend. But it was just so long ago that it's hard to compare who's a bigger athlete.
yeah, I mean, Michael
between the
Jordan
two.
like the shoes and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah, but like back then,
his shoes
like
like
that stuff didn't
transcended.
even
I watched
happen.
the whole documentary about his shoes like transcending basketball forever.
Yeah,
no one had a shoe like that.
Nobody
one had,
knew
Everyone
what-
wore Converse.
Nobody knew
Chuck
what
Taylors.
Nike was until Michael Jordan, and now Nike's like by far the most
Yeah, and he was the
popular
first person to
shoe
have
brand.
like color matching shoes with his jerseys.
Yeah.
Everyone wore black Chuck Taylors or like white Chuck Taylors, like
Yeah.
Converse, and he came out with like white and red and black
Yeah.
Nike shoes on,
Yeah.
like that matched his team colors. Like what?
Well, to wrap it up, Griffey is definitely easily my number one of all time. All right, let's talk about
The worst.
honorable mentions.
Honorable mention.
Okay, do you have any honorable
Ooh, I
mentions?
actually do have a couple. I did have David Taylor,
Okay.
and I had Yanni because he's almost as fun to watch.
Yanni
as,
Diakomahalis,
yeah, Diakomahalis. He's
Yeah.
almost as fun to watch as
another
Bo
wrestler
Nickel.
for our listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's funky.
I had George. He's kind of like Bo Nickel, but
Yeah.
not pinning wise. I had Michael Jordan, and I had Tom Brady because I did
Yeah.
enjoy watching him when he played.
Still plays.
When I did watch him, I
Yeah.
enjoyed it. I had Mike Tyson, and I had Michael Phelps because he's fun to
Oh
watch
yeah,
too.
he's cool.
Yeah.
And I had Shohei Ohtani because
Oh,
I watched
yeah.
him in person. And
He's-
he was,
yeah,
he
he's
was
We
cool to
watched him hit
watch.
2 home runs,
Yeah.
right? His first 2 home runs outside of California, and yeah, dude, that guy is. If he can get healthy, he's going to be great too. So that's a good one.
Yeah, that's it.
I had one is Aaron Judge because
Love Aaron
he
Judge.
was just so he had the record for the most home runs in a season
For a rookie,
for a rookie. Yeah, and then this other dude,
Pete Alonso.
Pete Alonso passed it, and he's like not nearly as talked about as Judge was. Like when Judge was like, it was just so fun to watch on TV.
Judge had a much better season than Alonso because he
That's
also,
probably why he's more talked about.
Yeah, because he did hit. I mean, he hit 52 home runs. Pete Alonso hit 53, broke his record. However, Judge was hitting like 350 for a large part of that season. He ended up lower than that, but Pete Alonso batted like 264. I mean, their seasons were not anywhere near comparable. Pete Alonso just had one more home run.
Yeah. I also have. Oh yeah, I was struggling between Aaron Judge and Abraham Lincoln.
Okay.
However, I mean the emancipication of the provocative Asian was just
Nailed it.
It was just too big for Aaron Judge. Like home runs is nothing compared to ending slavery.
You're right. You're
So
right.
I had Abraham over him. There's a
Abraham over him. All right.
Jose Altuve is another one. He's
Yeah.
great. He's short. Us short Keens are inspired by him.
Yeah.
He's only 5'6".
Yeah.
So how tall is Cade?
5'5".
They're barely taller
He's
than Cade.
Yeah, so that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I had that short basketball dude. I didn't know his name. Another short.
Muggsy Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues or Spud Webb? The one that won the dunk contest?
Spud Webb is a
Spud
cooler
Webb.
name. So.
Yeah.
Muggsy Bogues had a cooler dunk.
No. Spud Webb, he was fun. He won a dunk
How
contest.
tall was he?
Wait, was Muggsy Bogues the one that jumped over like the 7-foot European dude?
No, that's Vince Carter.
Oh, that's impressive too.
Muggsy Bogues is 5'3" as an NBA player.
I'm taller than him.
Yes.
Another dude is this dude who used to come to our school. He's like the Mavericks thing. It's not Matt. It's Champ. You know who Champ is?
The horse?
Yeah, the little horse. And then there's the other dude who was Mad Maverick. Is something like
Oh,
that.
okay.
Anyways, I used to like Mad Maverick because he had like this little cool goggle thing.
Yeah.
But Champ, like Champ, everyone liked Champ better. And I was
I wasn't paying attention for like the past 10 seconds of what you're saying, and I have no idea what you're talking about now.
Don't need to know.
they used to
No
come to
big deal.
Chandler. Everyone went for Champ. Like they're like hype up Maverick, and like I was the only one cheering. And then they were like hype up Champ, and everyone hyped up.
So
Champ.
is Champ an honorable mention for you?
Yes.
Okay. That's it?
And Cade.
Oh, how nice is that?
Thank you.
Kate is a great
Appreciate
athlete. You're right. That was sweet. All right, my honorable mentions. I had Pete Sampras. I had a couple other tennis players. Andre Agassi, one of them. Baseball, we talked about Ricky, Mickey Mantle, Ernie Banks, Mike Trout. Football, I had a hard time with football because like I said, I had the Cowboys, but I didn't pick any. But then I didn't even put them on my honorable mentions either. Randall Cunningham was a really fun quarterback for the Eagles to watch. Christian Okoye was a running back for the Chiefs. Derek Thomas played for the Chiefs. And Vince Young.
Oh, I was just about to question Vince Young. Like, I watched the CDs, the DVDs.
You always mix them up.
I sound so. I'm sorry for everyone over the age of 20.
Yeah,
That was bad.
Yeah, I mean his run at Texas was unbelievable, and I was a huge college football fan at that time, and Texas was my team, and so when they won the national championship, that's probably the greatest sports fan moment I've ever had. You were a baby sleeping on the couch.
I remember.
I was trying to like scream silently to not wake you.
Don't worry, I watched it on the DVD.
His NFL career never. I mean, he actually won a lot of games as a rookie and a second year quarterback, but he had some off the field issues and never really came back. And I don't know. I couldn't put him on my list. But if we were doing college football players, he'd be at the top. I mean, it was unbelievable for me as a fan. Basketball, I had Charles Barkley and Dirk Nowitzki as my honorable mentions. I had Mike Tyson also. And then when I was thinking about movies, I ended up picking Benny the Jet Rodriguez, but Ricky Vaughn and Willie Mays Hayes deserve some honorable mention love as well. Did you hear that,
I should
Jet?
have thought of movies.
Yeah.
I think I would have chose from movies. Maybe Michael Jordan from Space Jam.
Good pick. All right.
Have y'all seen Michael Scott play basketball?
Yes.
That's kind of how I play.
Yes, it is. You're right. All right, let's move on to
The worst.
I have Austin DeSanto.
Another
Iowa
wrestler.
Hawkeyes.
Yeah, good pick.
Why
He's
him?
he's so annoying.
Man, he's such a punk.
Yeah, you want to punch him in the face so bad.
He beat Spencer Lee, who's a phenomenal wrestler. He was a state champion in Pennsylvania, I think 3 times, but he lost once to Austin DeSanto.
He tore his ACL.
He tore his ACL and lost, but it was still DeSanto beat him. And I don't know what happened to DeSanto after that, but like because he had a lot of positive. I guess he was viewed positively when that happened because they're like, holy crap, look at this kid. Nobody really knows him. He beat Spencer Lee. Then he went to college and he had some success too. But when he lost, he was horrible. He like tried to Kimura that one guy from Michigan, Michich.
Yeah, I don't like Steven Michich.
Well, he doesn't deserve a Kimura for beating him.
It's crazy.
And yeah, he
What's
just
a Kimura?
It's a jiu-jitsu move.
It's
breaks your
definitely illegal.
shoulder,
Yeah,
elbow.
definitely illegal in wrestling.
Yeah,
And he's a punk.
and he's so annoying when everything he does is just so annoying. He makes every time you watch him, no matter who it is, you want him to lose.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter what.
Okay, my worst is Pete Rose.
Me too.
Okay, so I don't remember like everything of why he was a jerk, but I remember one thing. Like this was no reason. Like the ball was far away. He was running from home, and like the catcher was there, and like for no reason he just completely like f the catcher up.
Yeah, there was a collision at the plate, and I think, if I remember correctly, that was actually in an all-star game, which means it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter, and it just destroyed him.
Effectively ended that guy's career. Like he never was the same.
That's
after
crazy.
That. I've tried to stop hating on athletes as I've gotten older because there are some that I've changed my mind on. Tom Brady's a good example. I couldn't stand Tom Brady for the longest time. Now Mike Trout too, but I didn't hate him. I just didn't really like him. I really hated Tom Brady and Derek Jeter. I love them now. I think Derek Jeter
100 pence.
Probably still overrated. No, 100 pence. No, Derek Jeter's probably still a little bit overrated, but he is an all-time great. Tom Brady is the greatest of all time. I used to hate Roger Federer. There's still some I don't like. Tim Duncan. He's an all-time great, but I didn't like how he acted on the court. He'd never been fouled or he never committed a foul in his entire career. It drove me crazy. Still undeniably great. But the one that I can consistently dislike, and I will always dislike, is Pete Rose. For the reason that Jet mentioned, he and others. He was banned from baseball for life for betting on games as a manager, which is like the ultimate sin in baseball because you could lose games on purpose to make money, and it affects like tons of people's livelihoods and careers. Yeah. And since that has happened, he has taken every opportunity he possibly can to prove that he's still a dirtbag. He does it all the time. He denied it forever. He lied about it. He only admitted it at the betting on baseball for publicity when he was releasing a book about it. And in more recent times, he's been accused of statutory rape during his playing days with an underage female. So it's like, how many bad things can this guy do? He still has a lot of fans.
He's ugly too.
He is weird looking. He played really hard. Like the way he played, a lot of people appreciate it because he played really hard all the time. But I can't overlook all the scummy stuff he's done outside of that. So there are other crappy guys out there for sure. Michael Vick and some others that, I mean, Michael Vick is a horrible person with what he did with dogs and stuff, making them fight. But
is that one football player that like beat his kid with a stick? You found like they're like on a walk. What was his name?
Are you talking about Adrian Peterson?
I can't remember. Remember he like there's like they were like walking like in like a park or something like that. And he grabbed a stick and like beat his kid with it.
I don't know who that is. I don't know.
Just like for fun.
I don't know.
Well, he's probably disciplining him. I don't know who it was. We can't comment on it. All right, so let's move on to
Listener choices.
So I did continue this segment, even though I almost didn't do it this week. And we asked social media, who was your favorite athlete? And we got a lot of responses. And do you guys... Sometimes when I make the artwork for these polls, I'm afraid that the artwork I make will influence the decision. Because there are times where, like, I'll say, what's the greatest love story? And I'll put a picture of Titanic up there, and people answer Titanic. And I'm like, are they answering that because it's on the picture that I put?
Still pick Titanic.
I still like that's like.
There are lots of times, though, when I feel like people only pick the options that I have. Like, they think they have to choose between what I put on there. That's why I'll have the picture, and above it I'll always say, like this one, I had 3 pictures on there, but I said any athlete, any sport, all time. Like I made sure I said that.
Bold.
But the 3 athletes I picked were Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jordan, and Bo Jackson. And those guys were 1, 2, 3. So I'm wondering, did that influence the choices or not? I did share this on the normal outlets, but I also put it on this other Facebook page that I follow for sports trivia because I wanted to get some more votes because we hadn't, participated in a while. So we got a lot of votes, but here were the top 5. Number 5 was Willie Mays, which kind of surprised me, actually.
That's really surprising.
Yeah. Number 4 was Larry Bird, which also surprised me.
It's Larry Bird, not Larry Johnson.
Yeah,
Larry Johnson's also a basketball player, but he's not anywhere near as famous as Larry Bird.
Mom just asked Jet, name 5 basketball players. He's like, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Larry Johnson. I was like, well.
Yes, true.
Is it Magic Johnson?
But
Yes.
Magic Johnson, yeah. But the top 3, I already told you who they were. What order do you think they're in?
Okay, number 1's Michael Jordan.
What's your guess?
Yeah, I'd say Michael Jordan,
Okay.
too. I think
He's actually, Michael Jordan is number 3.
There's no way he's
Number 2 was Muhammad Ali, and number 1 was Bo Jackson.
Most people in the world would pick Michael Jordan without a doubt.
I agree. Like, it's weird to me that Bo Jackson is still as popular and everything as he is when he had such a short career. He was a mediocre kind of ish baseball player that ended early, and his football career started out brilliant, but then never
injured.
Was he just like a superstar when he played?
He was larger than life. Yeah. So. Anyway, that's according to our listeners.
He's got a cool baseball card.
He does, the one where he's in the shoulder pads with a bat. That's the picture I used on the artwork.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Yeah, I have that in a 10. All right.
It's bragging. Pew, pew, I got that in a PSA 10.
Glenn Solomon, fun fact of the week.
Of course I do.
Pew, pew, pew.
Good.
You already said the fun fact.
Oh yeah, skip that.
I think my headphones are.
All right, Jet.
It's time for Jet's Pun of the Week.
I glove you.
I glove you too.
That's it.
Nice.
All right, I'll take that.
Do you have the good job?
Do you deserve a
Good job.
Do you have the claps?
I don't
What
have the
happened
clap.
to the claps? You haven't had the claps in the last 20 episodes.
I've never had the clap, Jet. You guys don't get it. Never mind. It's over your heads. That's it. You guys have anything else to add to our episode about favorite athletes?
5-1, so it's a guarantee you can do.
Well, we'll wrap this up then. Thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen. Please check out our Facebook page that does not exist anymore until I get it fixed. You can tweet us at 5-1 podcast. We have an Instagram account, 5-1 podcast. Email us at 5-1podcast@gmail.com and call us 469-607-521. That's 469-607-5861. Please join us next time on 5-1 for our discussion on
Top 5 things to learn.
Before You Die.
Whoa.
Oh, before you die?
Well, I mean, it would be hard to learn it after you die.
That's true.
Love you. Love you.